It's time now for the third of our special reports in our Africa season this month. The appetite for mobile communications across Africa has been truly insatiable. In Tanzania, for example, 1 in 10 homes has access to electricity, but 97% of people have access to a mobile phone. Simon Hancock reports on a truly amazing growth story.
An alien landing on planet Tanzania would be forgiven for thinking that the only business here was the mobile phone. Over the last few years, they have completely taken over the landscape. It's worth repeating, 97% of Tanzanians say they can access a mobile phone. And what's just as interesting, as in many African countries, is how those phones are being used. Take Zanzibar, for example. Here, fishing is one of the mainstays of the economy, supplying restaurants and hotels with fish for the many tourists who visit the island. Many fishermen now carry mobile phones. While they're at sea, they use them to check market prices. If there are too many fish here in Zanzibar, they'll sail to Dar es Salaam to get better prices to make more money. Phones also serve another, even more vital use.
In other occasions, we do have problems in the ocean. Maybe a sailor is sick, or there is even an occasion where sailors die. So we may ask assistance for maybe other vessels to come and give us assistance, or we just inform them that we are coming, but we are a little bit slow because of certain problems we are having. So really, mobile phones have come to be of very big help to us as sailors.
As well as the novel uses you find like this, it's also the sheer extent of coverage you notice here. You get a signal in places so remote you wouldn't even think to turn your mobile on in the US or even Europe. The smallest villages, even here on the slopes of Kilimanjaro. In fact, the mobile networks are so dominant here, it's quite likely the country will never develop or need a fixed-line infrastructure. But recently, a debate has been raging as to whether this kind of leapfrogging may have any downsides. For here lurks the spectre of the digital divide. Since the first internet evangelists emerged from the mist, it's become gospel that for economies to grow and business to flourish, the internet was essential. After all, it was in the West. So, without fixed lines, the communications industry would stall, internet take-up would be hampered, and all kinds of economic horrors would be unleashed. Alas, no one told the people here this, so they just got on with things. Call centres like this have sprung up all over Tanzania. Most here don't actually own phones, so this is how many people communicate. It's a good business, and you guessed it, these phones are connected via GSM rather than fixed lines. Others have developed even simpler businesses based around mobiles, such as reselling their airtime to others, or making a living sending and receiving text messages. Mobile phones seem to have created a new sector of the economy, and some now wonder if the emphasis on the internet when looking at the digital divide was wrong-headed.
Even in the more developed parts of Africa, where we thought that the phone would just be an urban-rich toy, it's not. It really is a tool for business development, and it's moving across population segments that we really did not before believe would be accessible by these companies.
Research has shown that increased mobile accessibility in Africa is boosting countries' economies in the same way that fixed-line installation in the West did back in the 70s.
The digital divide that we thought was really there big between Africa and the rest of us and the Western world is really diminishing, and it's the mobile phones that's doing it, not the PC.
Back in Zanzibar, I paid a visit to the island's cell phone operator, Zantel. In his office, the CEO proudly showed me his company's heritage. Zantel's latest product may also look traditional, but their fixed-style phone for homes will not connect by either copper wire or even fibre optics. Whether or not the internet helps a country's economy, why use these methods for that either?
Our strategy is not to go on fibre optic or on a copper wire, because that is too expensive. We are thinking about going through the CDMA, which is a wireless system. And that also is a very useful and very effective way of rolling out to the rural areas and to the town and cities very fast, rather than through the copper.
Zantel has recently been granted a license to extend outside Zanzibar to operate nationwide. To extend their network across the country will cost $500 million. Even before their expansion, though, their subscriber base is growing 25% year on year. Mobile use in Tanzania and indeed across Africa is gaining momentum all the time, and users continue to confound researchers with their creativity in using the devices. Already the West has started to look to Africa and the developing world for new ideas as to where to take the technology next. And as for fixed lines, well, who needs them?